Yo, Todd here, Center Valley Customs. Welcome back to those of you that follow, which is like 5, 6 maybe. Welcome to everyone else. So, I don't really know where to start this off because I haven't been working on anything in here for a while. On the last video on the tracker, we, did all the floor pan and rocker panel and that kind of thing. This is more or less how we left it. I did weld the floor pan in more, but I haven't really touched it. And actually, I worked on a house project for a week. That's half done, we'd call it. 30% done. Somewhere in there. And it's getting colder and the days are getting shorter, so I really should be in there working on that. But I'm not, so sue me. See you in divorce court. Anyway, so I also took a week of vacation. I was in Colombia for 5 days, Santa Marta, and then I was in Panama for 3 or 4 days, something like that. Just got back last night, late last night, so yeah, mowed my lawn, which was 6 feet tall and whatever. So today we got a whole bunch of stuff that fits nothing. And I'll show you guys that right now. Alright, so like I said, I got a whole bunch of parts here that fit almost nothing. I also have stuff absolutely everywhere. I couldn't even drop that down if I wanted to. I got so much stuff packed underneath there. Anyway, sorry, temper tantrum. So this is what we got. I guess maybe we start with the big part. This is a KO4 turbo. For these swaps, a lot of people use KO3 turbos that come off of like Volkswagens, Audis, those kind of things, those kind of vehicles. This is a KO4, which I guess is supposed to put out more power, more boost, more something than a KO3. It's the words I read on the internet, so honestly, I don't know what the difference is. What I do know is this has like coolant passages on it, not just oiling. I don't know if I need that or not, so they might get plugged off. I'm not sure, but this thing is tiny. I mean, small. This is, I don't know what the diameter is, but it's small. It's like, honestly, this looks like something that should be on my lawnmower. It's actually not a bad idea. No. Anyway, so that's what we got for a turbo. This is a cheapo max speeding rods. I don't know, eBay special. Actually, I think it came from, I bought it on eBay, but it came from Amazon, I think, actually. El Cheapo, $120, and I probably got ripped off. So that's that. I ordered some flanges for this. So the inlet for the exhaust is 1 5/8 round. Actually, it's probably smaller than that. I don't even have headers with tubing small enough for this inlet. So yeah, that's, I don't know, concerning, I guess, to me. Maybe not. I don't know anything about turbos. I don't know how big of a turbo you need for whatever motor, but it seems really tiny. This is an exhaust flange that I ordered for here. Too big. Won't work. We'll have to make a new one. So that's that. I bought a Mamba Audi Volkswagen turbo oil feed line. So it's supposed to be an oil feed line for this. The reason I bought this is because the orifice for one of these is pretty small, so that you don't overfeed the turbo, because if you do, it'll leak somewheres in here and then you'll blow smoke everywhere and something else. Oil exit, oil drain, and fitting line thingamajigger that goes on the bottom of here. It came with a whole bunch of gaskets and studs and crap. Let's see, I got an exhaust manifold gasket. I bought an exhaust manifold flange. Wrong one. Ooh. I need that part down there. Not the flange, the part that I threw that on. So we will need to make a new one of those, which is why I bought this, so I can trace this to make a new one, which is why I got this 1/4 inch steel that I got from work. I asked for it, I didn't just take it. I got the cheapest, coolest boost gauge that I could find on the eBay. It's got different colors. And actually I did buy this one specifically because it has vacuum and boost, not just boost. Not sure that I need that. I don't know. I got a blow-off valve here that is Tile, T-I-A-L. It says made in the USA, but it got shipped from China. Figure that one out. It came with flange to weld on the, what you want to call it, charge tube for that. And this is a V-band style, fancy. It's a big bastard, bigger than the Turbski. It did come with, there's supposed to be a 5-pound spring in here, which is probably what I need. And then it did come with another spring. I don't know what this one is. It didn't come with any paperwork, so I do not believe that this is made in USA. This is Chinese garbage, is what this is. And then, finally, we got ourselves a header. So, this header is for a Honda Civic or CRX or CRV or Honda something. So, this obviously is not going to bolt onto that motor. So, we need to make a header flange. Cut this flange off, weld these pipes back to that flange, and then if you notice, this is a T3 or T4 style flange here, so that will not work. We will need to somehow make this thingamajigger go on here, somehow. Cut this off because this is for a wastegate, I think it's called. This has one on it, and it whatever uses vacuum or boost or whatever the heck to open it up and do whatever it does. I don't know. So this thing we're going to have to cut off, weld the hole, cut this flange off, figure out how to get this flange on, that kind of thing. This pipe in here though is the correct size for this. So my thoughts kind of maybe is if we could cut this off and somehow, I don't know, make it work. But we're not going to worry about that yet, because what I'd like to do tonight, although the days are getting shorter, and yeah, I'd like to at least get that header off of there so that I can trace this one and trace that one to try to start making a header, flange. There is another whole setup, turbo and header, for an Audi. It's a big turbo, big turbo kit for an Audi, and that is a T3 turbo. To be completely honest with you, I don't know the difference between like a KO3, KO4, T3, T4 turbo besides for the mounting flange. I would assume because this mounting flange is way, way bigger than this mounting flange, T3s and T4s are for more horsepower, more boost, whatever. We only need to push 5 pounds maybe. So we don't need anything that big. But there is a whole setup on the interwebs right now, local marketplace. And now my wife's going to walk all over the place. And think the guy wants 200 bucks for it. I might lowball the shit out of him, see if he takes it. And we might be just using that whole setup and put the flange on that whole setup instead of using this and trying to cobble this together. But I don't know. Either way, we need a header flange. So we'll start with trying to get this header off of here, manifold, whatever you want to call it. We'll worry about all that crap later. Well, I got this heat plate, whatever, kind of moved out of the way. There's one bolt I can't get at. Look at that. Cracked all the way around. So we have to put a freaking turbo on it now. We got to put a header on it. So it's got a cracked manifold. You can't leave that on there like that. Alright, there was 2 bolts down there holding the exhaust to the manifold. I had to get the old big dog impact out and bust them off because I couldn't get them with the smaller impact. So this should come off of here, I believe. Oh yeah! Look at that. Had an O2 sensor on there too, so I was careful not to bust that off. Okay. She out. Whew. How does this look? Oil and gas. Gas. We might need this. Well, seeing as we got that out, we might as well see if this will even remotely fit in here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That actually fits in there pretty damn good. Even the exhaust, like I said, the exhaust ports, the spacing is actually pretty decent. That might work. Huh? Not bad. Not bad. Fits in there pretty damn good. I like it. It's kind of dumb, but I do like it. One more thing. Well, how do you like me now? That looks cool. Tell me that doesn't look cool. Like it was meant to be. They should have just put turbos on these from the start. Look at how easy it is. Little header, little Civic header, KO4 Turbski. That gets me excited. I actually do. I picked up a intercooler down there, although the inlet and outlet are probably 2-inch, so I don't know how to make all that piping work, but I don't know. We probably could just clock that. We're gonna have to clock it one way or another anyway, but we could almost clock that, go straight into there. Not bad for a half-ass mock-up. And that header came out easy. I expected all the studs to break. No studs broke. They all came right out. Not bad. That gets me going. If that don't get you going, there's something wrong with you and not me. Yo, new day. Just went out to eat with my in-laws. So it's like 8 o'clock tonight, whatever. But I'd still like to get something done. Unfortunately, my wife is not feeling good, and our bedroom is like behind the wall right there. So I can't be too loud. So what I'm going to attempt to do, which I think might be quiet, is I took my gasket here for my manifold and I traced it out on this plate. I'd like to at least get these holes drilled, these holes, and then maybe I'm gonna try to machine these exhaust ports out a little bit, at least square them up maybe, so I can get in there with a burr bit or something to round them out. But at least I'd like to try to get, you know, some progress made, because tomorrow I got a house project to work on. So I'm trying to get as much done as I possibly can with the limited time I got. So yeah, instead of moving all this stuff, I'm just gonna try to work around it. I'm gonna use an end mill to drill the holes. End mill's probably not the best thing to use. I should just put the drill chuck in and run holes, but I'm just gonna run an end mill all the way through and go from there. And Odin is just won't leave me alone. Alright, so I got all my holes drilled. Went pretty easy. Honestly, they cut like butter. Although I kind of made one mistake, I feel anyways. When I traced those holes out and when I checked the size of the hole, I checked the hole to the gasket. Well, the hole in the gasket is actually bigger than the hole in the header itself. So these studs, I believe, are metric M6 studs. So they're a little big. I don't know. It might be, I don't know if you can even see, but they got some slop in them. So that kind of sucks. I should have known better than to just use the size of the gasket, but whatever, it is what it is. So now I thought about just using the end mill to cut like a square in here, but there's no way I'm going to be able to drill all the way through the metal and then cut out like that. I'd have to make multiple passes at 50 to 100 thousandths deep. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that. So I got a hole saw chucked up in here, which is undersized by 50 thousandths, I think. So, I mean, close enough for me. But I'm assuming this is going to make a lot of racket. So I don't know that we're going to be able to do this tonight. I'm going to try to lube it up, go slow. That hole saw is a super, super cheap hole saw. So I quite honestly don't even expect this to work or even to get through one hole. I bought two of these super stupid cheap kits. And so I got two hole saws more or less to try. If I can get 2 holes out of each hole saw, done. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to grab some lube, hose some lube on there, see if we can drill a hole. If it's noisy, I'm just going to call it a night because my wife will kill me. So let's see what we can do. Alright, whoa, stop. I got the brake on. Whoops. Alright, let's see if we can do some damage here. Oh, that is nice and straight. Not. I just kind of want to see where she's going to line up. It's already noisy. Close enough. Alright, I'm going to lube her up and see what we can do here. Slow and steady. Oh, there she's cutting. I ain't got this gear down enough. Oh, see, we're getting noisy here. It's probably a little fast. All right, we got one through, and all right, good. I got a text message. I thought it was my wife telling me I'm dead, but it's not yet anyway. So we're gonna go after another one while we got this all set up here. I should probably move that over, honestly. All right, 2 down. This is going a lot easier than I expected it to. All right, 1 left. Nice. Bada bing, bada boom. All 4 done. All right, pull this off, clean it up, see what we got to do. All right, I got my piece here. I cleaned this up with some brake clean, so that'll be all rusted out tomorrow. But I also traced this gasket out again, and you can see where the black marks are around the hole. I mean, that's pretty good. And actually, the gasket hole is bigger than the manifold hole. This is about just over 1.25 inches, about 1.25 inches, and this is like 1.3, so whatever that is. So like I said, they're pretty damn close. So I'm just going to leave these alone. I'm not going to hog them out any bigger. They're good the way they are. But I have one little issue. I don't know what this is. The gasket has a hole here, and I intentionally did not cut this hole out because it goes into the exhaust manifold here, but it's just a hole that comes out on the inside right here. Can't see because I don't have enough light. But so there's just like a little channel from this hole to this exhaust port. I don't know what that's for, and I don't have enough material on here to make that. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out what that's for. Maybe I can just plug it off and I don't need it. I don't know. But that's that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bolt this plate that I just made right to this manifold, and then I'm gonna trace around this manifold on this plate to see where I gotta cut this. Because if I cut this to the same size as the gasket, it's probably going to be way too tight, and I don't want to do that. So let's bolt that on there. I got some studs and some nuts from when I took that manifold off. Get that on there, and then I'll trace it out, and that's going to be the end of the night, to be honest with you. So I'm not even going to film that because what's there to see? A dude tracing some parts. So I need to work on my house tomorrow, so I'll be back out here in a few days. See you then. Yo, it's been a while. Good news, I got my, well, part 1 of my heating project complete. So when I bought this house, it only had electric heat. If you don't know, electric heat is ridiculously expensive, like insane. The first month I owned this house, it wasn't even cold yet, and I damn near died when I saw the electric bill. So that all had to go. I put in a full hydronic system because hydronic heat is supposed to be, hydronic radiant heat, is supposed to be more efficient than forced air. So my house is a really odd construction. It's all brick, block, field stone, concrete. The only wood is the trusses and the roof in this whole house. It is weird. Honestly, if I go back, I probably would have not bought this house. I love it, but it makes it extremely difficult to do any sort of household project, more or less. So my main level's on a slab. I have radiators on my main level. I've had 3/4 inch PEX tubes ran along a portion of my wall to go to 2 radiators, and it looks like shit. My wife wants floors, and I don't want them there. So I ended up having to cut like a 5-inch section out of my floor so I could put a 3-inch piece of PVC in there so that I could run my lines through. So that's all done, completed, great. I have heat. Yeah, it is what it is. So if anybody gives 2 shits, that's what I've been doing, and it has not been fun. So whatever. So where we left off with this whole ordeal I got this all traced out. So today I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to cut this flange off. I'm not exactly sure how to cut this flange off yet. I'd like it to be, you know, pretty even. I thought about chucking this up in the mill and then using the mill to machine this off so that my pipes are all, you know, the same length and cut nice and straight. Fortunately, I don't really know how to do it. A good way to do it, more or less, and it's going to take too much time, so I'll probably just end up going after it with the grinder. Hopefully all the tubes will be cut flush-ish, flat-ish, and go from there. Alright, I got all this stuff cut apart. This I just torched out with the plasma cutter very crudely. I did not hold the plasma cutter square, so these are at a bit of an angle, which is great. Anyway, it doesn't matter, who cares. I cut this flange off. I was able to get that off with just the grinder. I actually had to use the cutoff wheel from the air compressor, which I'm not used to using, or haven't used it in a while. And then I went ahead and I cut off this flange for that T4, T3, whatever turbo, because if I would have welded this on here, I would have not been able to get that off with the grinder. So, I also took an extra inch out of it, because what my plan is going to be is to take this piece of steel, trace this out, and just weld a flat piece of steel on here, cut 1.5 inch hole, because that is what this is. And actually this piece of pipe is from this, blow-off valve or whatever you want to call it, wastegate. And I wanted to keep this because this flanged part fits perfectly in the flange for the KO3, KO4 turbo. Whereas 1.5 inch is too small, 1.75 inch too big. Whatever this is, fits perfectly. I think it's 1 5/8. So I wanted to keep that. But if I was to weld this directly onto a flat piece of steel, I would not be able to get a bolt or studs in, you know, it'd be too short to get a bolt in. Or I think this came with studs, so I'll probably use studs. So what I'm going to have to do is on the shelf over here, I got some 1.5 inch exhaust pipe that I'll have to extend this 1 inch, or I don't know how much, 1 inch, for sure 1 inch. And then that'll weld right to the top of this. Is it going to flow beautifully? No, probably not. Do I care? No, not at all. So that's that. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to bolt this flange on the motor, and then we're going to hold that pipe or header, whatever, against it and tack it together. This is going to be very crude. I don't know the best way to do this because nothing is really level, even. I still have the ass end of this thing jacked up, so the motor's in there, you know, sitting like this right now. I'm just going to hold it in there, eyeball it, and zap it. So, but I do want to make sure that I have this bolted tight, at least in a few spots. Then once that is all tacked together, we'll pull it out and weld it solid. Yeah, a little bit at a time, but it's going okay so far. So let's get that all tacked together. Let's see if I can try to get my arm in here where I can hold this a little better. Okay, so I'm just going to try just more or less looking at the outside runners. Can you see this? Yeah, me either. Yeah, sure, right there. Sure. Okay, that's kind of held on. Okay, so now this. Oh, it's not terrible right there, honestly. Let's just leave it like that. Okay, how's that look? Thinking once the motor sits down, it's going to be tilted back a little. But it ain't terrible. Yeah, we'll roll with it. Okay, I think before I get too crazy, I'm going to take this all off of here and just make sure I don't have any gaps underneath, which I shouldn't. Make sure I'm not too close to the edge like this one. It's pretty close. Maybe not. It's probably pretty good right where it's at, actually. I'm just going to tack her up. Well, I got this welded and it looks hideous, like the worst welding I've ever done in my life. And I honestly can't even blame it on the fact that we're MIG welding Chinese stainless to regular steel. It's not good. I don't even want to show you that's how bad it is. The only thing I can say is that I could not get my gun in here because of the angle, so I had to like stick it in through here upside down and try to whatever weld it. But this looks hideous. I mean, if I knew I was if I was a professional welder, not even professional, I don't know, if I was gonna walk out on my job, I wouldn't even do this bad. Like this isn't the worst because I could get to it, but the bottom side is just absolutely hideous. At least it's on the bottom. And if you think I'm going to grind it out, that ain't going to happen. But I made this little piece to go in here, so I'll weld that in there. I cut just a 3x3 square to put on here. I'll trace that, cut that out, weld that on. We got to drill an 1.5 inch hole in here, so I should probably do that before I try welding it on here, because I can just chuck it up in the mill, hog that hole out, should be good. So I'm going to start by just welding this little piece in here. I'll weld this in first, then cut it off even, and we'll throw that piece, I'll trace it, cut it, throw it in the mill, hog a hole, weld it in, and we're getting pretty close here. We might even have a Turbski on here by the end of the day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're pretty damn close. My camera shut off, so I don't know where you guys didn't see. But I got this piece welded on. I cut out 1.5 inch hole. I also extended this piece and welded it to the flange. It's fully welded on the inside, and I even took my burr bit and ground the weld down. And then I put a few tacks around the outside so that, I don't know, just cuz. So that's all ready to go. So this tube did fit really tight in here. I actually hogged this out a hair so that this will slide in here like so, because right now we are going to bolt this up. I'm going to bolt this tube onto here, and then once we get it in the car, we'll figure out what height we want it at. I'll mark it, pull the flange off, cut it off, stick it back on, and then that way we don't have like 3 inches of pipe inside this header piece. So let's get to it. All right, so I put the manifold in, but what I want to do is try to clock this portion of it so that the oil drain is to the bottom, facing, you know, this tube. So there's a bunch of M6 bolts, 10mm right here. You can loosen these up, and I believe I just have to loosen these up for the, I don't know what this is called, charge housing, I don't know, something. So I'm going to loosen these all up, loosen these 4 up, and then I'm going to turn this housing so that my drain is to the bottom. I don't know how I want this clocked yet. So I'm just going to leave that alone probably for now, but I at least want my drain to the bottom. So I'm going to attempt to do that. I have no idea what I'm doing. Sorry. So watch me fiddle around, try to figure this out. Alright, let's loosen all these up. Now that this is probably not the surface I'll be doing this on after I just grinded for an hour and a half. So that turns together. Oh, there it goes. This way. Okay. My drain is right here. So I think that should be good, like that. Now this portion, I don't know how I want this clocked yet. I'm going to tighten up these bottom ones first. And I might be doing this completely wrong, so hopefully nobody's using this as a educational thing. Okay. So that is good now. Hopefully this, where is that? Right there. This should still fit on here. Okay, good. Looks good. Should just put this on right away. Now, this piece here, you can also turn. Ooh. I think you can turn it, but you got to take these 2 bolts out that hold this on. And I don't know which way I want this yet. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. We can do that in the vehicle when we need to. So, but I do want to make sure that this linkage here is lined up fairly decent. Okay, make sure this all still does the spinny thing. Does. Beautiful, nice and smooth. Alright, so let's stick this in there, mark this pipe, we'll cut it, stick it in again. I'll probably honestly just weld this all in the vehicle, because that manifold's kind of a pain in the ass to get out now. So yeah, let's get her done. All right, here's the big bad turbski. I should say a little baby turbski. Now that would be a decent height. I like that, except for, like I said before, our bolts are too close. So I'm gonna have to bring it up about 1 inch. Get my marker ready here. So let's bring it up, let her down, bring it up a little bit. How does that look? Okay? Sure? So let's just mark this right here. Okay. I'll cut this and then stick it back in and weld it. Alright, I got my pipe cut. Now I'm going to try to weld this while holding this, because I want it to be, I don't know how I want it to be, but ready, aim. How's it look? Look okay? I hope so. Stay. Looks like it's pitched up a little bit. Something like that. Is it straight? I think it needs to be twisted here. Oh, don't break my tack. Actually, it doesn't really matter if it breaks. Doesn't look terrible right there. All these cables and stuff are gonna, oh, that's my welding cable, I guess. How is it leveled? Doesn't look terrible. Oh shit. Kind of want to angle this, I think, with the motor, so when it lays down. Yeah, sure. Screw it. Looks good enough for me. Oh shit. How's that look? Good enough? Alright, good. Yeah, looks alright. Okay, I'm gonna pull this turbo off, weld the pipe solid, and then I don't know. I really want to see this turbo spin. All right, crappy welds. Here we go. I should really pull this header off. I can't get to any of this. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to pull this header off. All right, I got this two ball welded up. Once again, spaghetti, shitty, bubbly, crappy welds. I got this bolted on. I actually filled this with oil, and it's dripping oil right now, while dripping on the header down there, because I can't go to bed or leave this without at least seeing that turbo spin. So I wouldn't recommend anybody else doing this. And I've actually had oil. I filled the drain and had it upside down like overnight. So I know there's oil in it, and like I said, it's dripping oil right now. So I'm gonna put a little more oil in the fill, and we're gonna spark this thing off, and I just want to see it spin. I'm only gonna run it for like 30 seconds at the most. Like, I just want to see it spin and shut it off. So let me fill that up. I'll get you set up. We'll get this thing fired up. See it spinny spin, shut it off quick, and probably be a wrap. All right, here we go. Make sure this is a neutral. Dead battery. That's nice. All right, I got the booster on this time. Oh boy. We got a vacuum leak. Bad vacuum leaks. All right, I'm going to give this one more shot. If it doesn't run, it doesn't run. I'm going to have to look into it farther. Well, it spins at least. Huh. All right, well, I guess it just doesn't want to go. Well, that sucks. I don't know why it won't run. I had thought maybe it was a vacuum leak, but there's only one thing that's unplugged, and that's this, and that just goes to the valve cover for a breather or a PCV or whatever. And then I plug this, but I don't know what it is. There is a switch on it. I don't know. It is what it is. Kind of sucks because I really wanted it to run so I could wrap it off a couple times and see if it makes turbo noises. But next video, I guess, or video coming up anyways. So that's it. I'm gonna call it for the night. I cut my hand open. I need to go deal with that, and it's late. So got our turbo header made out of a Honda Civic header and flange, that header flange that I made myself, whatever. Doesn't look terrible. Looks pretty cool. Obviously we got to clock that a different way. My welds look like shit, but it is what it is. I can't get you in here any better. But we got to figure out oil lines, exhaust. I got to figure out all the vacuum stuff on here to get rid of. And a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that we need to do yet. So that'll be coming up. Before you comment and say my header looks like shit, go online, search for Suzuki Samurai turbo headers and look at those and then compare mine to that. I mean, mine still looks shitty, but looks a lot better than the ones you could buy for $300-400 bucks or whatever the hell they want for them. But it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all that garbage, and catch you on the next one.